You're listening to Humans in the Loop, stories about the moments at work that make or break us. The kind of moments that don't always show up on a performance review, but live on in side chats and silence. Today, we meet Nadia, a program manager who delivers relentlessly. But behind the metrics, something else is being measured. The dashboard is green, the roadmap's solid, so why isn't she moving forward?
I had a good year. That's what the data said. Deadlines met, discrepancies cleared, bugs down, feedback dashboards, all green. I wasn't expecting confetti. But I wasn't expecting a lecture on learning how to play well with others either.
Nadia worked in program management, which means she worked with everyone. Design, engineering, marketing, operations. If you wanted a milestone hit, she was the one chasing the blockers. Her work was visible, but she wasn't.
I don't code, I coordinate. That means I have to be clear, direct, efficient, and yeah, maybe intense. But that's a job, right? Or at least, it used to be. Program management is squishy. No one really knows where the edges are. You chase timelines, herd decisions, negotiate bandwidths, all without stepping on anyone's toes, except sometimes you do. Because the toes keep moving, and no one tells you where they are.
Nadia didn't think she was out of step. She was doing what the role demanded, but slowly, almost imperceptibly, something shifted.
I didn't get the promotion. When I asked why, my manager said, "We need to talk about how you're meeting cultural expectations and values." I asked what those were. She didn't know. She was just relaying the message.
It turns out there's a name for that feeling. When you know something's off, but no one will say it out loud. We'll get to Nadia's story in a moment. First, a quick word from our, let's call them, mutual understanding consultants.
From the author of Professionalism, Art or Science and Your Tone is Fine comes a new audiobook for anyone who's ever been told they're too sensitive by people who never felt safe to begin with. Psychological Safety for People Who've Been Gaslit for a Decade isn't a guidebook, it's a reclamation. Written by a licensed, trauma-informed therapist and narrated by a voice that sounds suspiciously like your inner child if they'd finally been believed. Chapters include what boundaries feel like before the guilt kicks in, performance management or social experiment, and you can leave. No one has to clap. For the ones who were loyal, over-functioning, always resilient, this one's for you. Psychological Safety for People Who've Been Gaslit for a Decade. Available now on Echo Nest.
So, back to Nadia. The feedback was polite, vague, frustrating. Some people feel steamrolled. You could work on your soft skills. But when she asked for specifics, there weren't any.
Soft skills? I coordinate our cross-functional teams. I unblock roadmaps every week. I have meetings called Clarity Sync. I'm not lacking soft skills. I'm just not a comfort blanket. According to my manager, one person said I was too direct. Another said I was not clear enough. One said I didn't vibe with the team. It felt like I was being held accountable for emotions I never got a chance to understand, let alone address. This was the first time I heard any of it, and I didn't know how to react.
Sometimes, soft skills is just a polite euphemism, a stand-in for discomfort. For, you don't act like us, but we don't know how to tell you that. And it hits neurodivergent employees hardest.
Everyone needs feedback to grow. So I asked for feedback. I submitted formal peer feedback requests. 5 people responded, all glowing, all vague.
Now this part's important. The peer feedback responses, not one mention of tone, or friction or concerns, just a flood of praise that didn't match what was happening around her.
I started noticing tension. Micro pauses when I spoke up. Muted enthusiasm when I shared updates. A teammate who used to loop me in suddenly didn't. But no one said anything. No one flagged a concern. No one gave feedback.
Except they did, just not to her. Nadia's manager wasn't malicious. Just unclear. Because everyone around her was unclear too, and in that fog, Nadia became a risk. Of course, there's an easier way to avoid all this. Just become an expert in reading between the lines, or let someone else do it for you.
Introducing Impliant, the world's first communication system designed to maximize perception and minimize exposure. Crafted for professionals who know that words are currency and clarity is an expense. Impliant speaks softly, so you never have to. With our signature whisper interface, you'll navigate even the most fragile conversations using gentle phrasing, vague affirmations, and the strategic elegance of saying almost nothing at all. And at its core, Hintelligence, our proprietary ambiguity engine. It doesn't just analyze context, it anticipates discomfort and reroutes the truth accordingly. Why communicate clearly when you could impliant?
Which brings us back to the reality Nadia was living. This is the audit no one talks about, the performance review behind the performance review, the one conducted through whispers and vibe checks. And for employees like Nadia, and especially neurodivergent ones, there's no way to prepare, no rubric, just a shifting fog of feedback that never quite arrives.
I don't think I was punished for underperforming. I think I was punished for not soothing others while doing my job well. That didn't sit well with me at all.
She didn't say it out loud, but it was there. After the review cycle, Nadia made a choice. Not out of spite, not out of bitterness, but out of clarity.
I didn't want to become smaller to fit in. So I left. New company. Still program management, still chaos and complexity. But here, the culture doesn't reward ambiguity. Feedback comes early. It's honest, actionable. And when I push back, people don't flinch. They engage.
Sometimes feedback is a gift, sometimes it's a warning. But the most dangerous kind is the kind you never hear. The kind that lives in side chats, in softened comments, in meetings where you're excluded and never told why. Nadia didn't fail. She couldn't have succeeded. Not in a system built to reward comfort over candor.
I used to think I wasn't cut out for corporate life. Now I know. I just needed a workplace that valued directness as clarity, not as conflict.
This has been Humans in the Loop. I'm Ezra Strix. Until next time. Nadia's story, it's not unusual. What's unusual is saying it out loud. Because there's no checkbox on the review form for made people uncomfortable by being clear. If today's conversation hit home, subscribe to Humans in the Loop wherever you get your podcasts. Ratings and reviews help new listeners find us, and we read every single one. Want to share your own story? Use the contact form at loopedinhumans.com or find us on socials at loopedinhumans. You can support the show on Patreon at patreon.com/humansintheloop. And if you're listening as someone who makes decisions about where to put your company's voice, and you think our audience might be your audience, get in touch. We've got a contact form at loopedinhumans.com/contact. As much as we love our satirical ads for fake products, we'd also love to talk about an ad spot for your real product or service. I'm Ezra Strix. Thanks for listening.
This episode of Humans in the Loop, Soft Skills Audit, was written and produced by me, Christina Simmons, executive producer of this show. Voice talent, Vivian Peach as Nadia, and Ezra Strix, our observant AI host, serving up biting truths between commercial breaks for entirely fictional products. Operations producer, Rana Cassidy, who keeps us organized, on schedule, and politely reminds me when a quick satirical ad draft has somehow turned into a 3-page manifesto. You can hear more stories and subscribe wherever you listen. Follow us on socials at LoopedInHumans and support the show on Patreon. Want to help more people discover these stories? Rate and review the show at ratethispodcast.com/loopedinhumans. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for a sneak peek at what's coming in our next episode.
Next time on Back Channel, what happens when feedback hides in politeness? When fit becomes a verdict no one explains out loud. One manager learns too late that silence isn't neutral. It's damaging.
No one told her. And if I'm honest, no one told me either. Not in a way that counted.
Nobody told me. Next week on Humans in the Loop,